So you're a DSLR owner and you want to move up to mirrorless, or you don't have a camera yet and you're trying to decide what camera system to buy into. In today's video, I'm going to talk about if you should stick with DSLRs, should you get a mirrorless, and which brands are the best to go with. So stick around. If you've been watching our last few videos, you know we've been really high on the Canon M50 and we've enjoyed using it. I'm shooting this video on it now. For our purposes, this is a great little camera. I'm going to be using this to walk around with and shoot with. It's small, it's light. My DSLR, which is right here, is a bigger camera. It's not as easy to carry around, but it's, to me, reliable. I know what I'm going to get out of this. Whereas with the mirrorless camera, I'm not 100% sure yet. But what if you are new to photography and you want to buy a new camera? Should you get a mirrorless? Should you get a DSLR? Which brand? Do you go with Sony? Do you go with Nikon? Do you go with Canon? These are all the decisions that you have to make. And you're watching these videos because you want someone to help you, and I know exactly how you feel. This camera that I'm holding here is about 4 years old. It's fine. It still works fine. But there have been some improvements in the technology that's out there, bigger sensors, better ISO performance. So within the next year or two, I'm probably going to replace this camera body. So what do? Do I go with the Nikon full-frame mirrorless cameras? Do I completely abandon that system and maybe go with the Canon because I have the M50 here? Maybe I'll accumulate some Canon glass. Do I go with that? Do I abandon everything and go into the Sony line, which has been getting rave reviews? Some of the guys we were shooting with the other night have Sony cameras and the images are stunning. They love the cameras. There's a lot of great features that they have. So there's a lot to think about, and these cameras aren't inexpensive. So, you know, a professional camera body starts at about $2,000 and goes up from there. So we're talking about a big investment. And a lot of these videos that you watch, like this one or other ones, these guys get, you know, the bigger channels. They'll have cameras loaned to them, so they'll be able to run through them and use them. But for someone like me, who's going to have to buy and invest in a camera, and I'm going to hold on to it for 4, 5, 6 years, it's a big decision. So mirrorless seems to be the way everything is going. And I understand why. After using one and watching reviews and seeing my friends use them, and I see the benefits, the faster shutter speeds, the smaller form factor, electronic viewfinders, the focusing, the autofocus for videos better. There's a lot of different reasons why mirrorless makes sense. For me, right now, if I had to replace my Nikon D750, what would I do today? Well, today, I can't get a Nikon camera. And I'll tell you why. A Nikon mirrorless camera, that is. And I'll tell you why. And it has to do with this. That's right, a little memory card. If you're a hobbyist photographer and you just want to step out of your DSLR and into any of these full-frame mirrorless cameras, they're all very good. Your decision will be based on whether you have Nikon glass already, Canon glass already, maybe you want to try Sony, and those will be your reasons. And you'll go out and you'll take pictures and you'll enjoy it, and you'll have a good time and the camera will be great. If you're getting paid to take images, and you're putting an effort in to go somewhere, maybe on location, and you're shooting a one-time event, there is no choice. You have to go with a Sony camera right now if you want a mirrorless camera. They're the only camera that offers a full-frame, professional level body with 2 memory card slots. And people, you know, talk about that, it's not a big deal. I'll tell you, it is a big deal. And if you don't think you're ever going to use your camera professionally, you may say, okay, I'll go get the Nikon Z6 or Z7 or the Canon R and I'll be fine. I have the Canon glass already. But if it was me 5 years ago and to where I am today in photography and business and everything else, I might have said that, but you don't know where you're going to be. And if you're hanging on to this body for 5 years, maybe in 5 years you will be getting paid for your work, or you will, you know, need to have a camera that is rock solid, that you can't take chances with. So for me, if I had to get a new camera today and I wanted to stay with Nikon, I would get the D850, which is the next level up DSLR from the D750. Professional body, does everything I would need it to do, The video is not great though. It has 2 memory card slots. And the reason why this is so important, and I'm going to give you an example from my life. Okay, so a few years back, we went to Disneyland to shoot the images for our book. I'd never been there. We were going for 3 or 4 days. We had booked flights, hotels, and we had 3 or 4 days to get the images for this book. Now, if I was going with a camera that had 1 memory card slot, and let's say, you know, I created 500-600 images on that memory card and it failed and I couldn't get those images back, how much of an investment would I have lost in traveling all that way for an assignment that I needed to get done? It had to be done then. You know, I was on a timeline. So when you're in a situation like that, you can't afford for something to go wrong. You can't afford to not have a backup. I mean, wedding shooters, it's a no-brainer. Any kind of one-time event, you have to be able to, you know, deliver. You're getting paid to deliver. So in those situations, a camera like the Nikon Z6, Z7, the Canon R, you can't walk into that with that as your only camera. And even if you have another camera body that you have with you, if a card fails and you don't have a backup for the shots that you've taken, they're gone. And there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes you can recover them, but if you check back in Eric's video with the his memory card horror story, he talks about that. He talks about how he lost an entire day's worth of shooting and he still hasn't been able to recover it. He sent that memory card off to different places to try to get those images back, and he can't. So if you're new to this and you're maybe have a low-level DSLR or you don't have any camera yet and you're looking to buy into a system, right now I would tell you to go with Sony, because right now, if you buy a Sony mirrorless body, you're going to have 2 memory card slots if you have any aspirations of being professional. Now, I'm hoping that Canon and Nikon will eventually step up their mirrorless bodies and put the dual memory card slots in. But, you know, as of today, if I was going to tell you today what to get, I would say go with Sony if you have nothing. If you're a Nikon shooter or a Canon shooter with glass already, and you feel like you need a new camera body, I would stay with a DSLR. I would not move into the mirrorless cameras yet. Or hang on to your old body as long as you can until they update the mirrorless offerings to make it where you don't have to worry about something like that, because it's a big deal. Now, if you're a hobbyist photographer and maybe you have a couple of different camera bodies and you have some glass and you're a Nikon shooter and you just want to have the latest and greatest, and you know, you're taking family pictures, or you're taking landscape shots, and you know, there's no pressure, then, you know, get whatever you want. I think it's fine. You know, some of our friends have these cameras and they love them and there's been no issues. And the chance of something failing, it's small, but it's not a risk that I would be willing to take if I was getting paid to do a job. You know, and as you get better as a photographer and as you start to work more and you're getting paid for work, you realize how important it is to be professional and to be able to deliver when you're sent on an assignment. When you have to go shoot something for somebody and they're paying you, there's enough pressure already when, you know, you have to deliver a product to somebody and make sure that they like it, it's what they want. If you're shooting an event, that you capture what you need to not then have to worry about gear in the back of your mind saying, is this memory card going to fail on me in the middle of, in the middle of this? So that's what I'm saying with this. It's just one less thing you don't have to worry about. I'm going to point you to a really good video by Jared Pollan where he compares the full-frame Sony, Nikon, and Canons. And he goes through all of the pros and cons, and they're all very comparable cameras. But the Sony's the only one that has the dual memory card slot. So if you're buying one camera body, and one only, and it's got to last you a few years, and you're going to be using it to make money, there's right now only one choice in my mind, if you want to have a mirrorless. So what's your opinion on this? You know, what do you think? What do you feel? If maybe you are a pro and you've gone through this. You know, I'm thinking about this now. I'm coming up on a time where I want to replace my full frame professional body with something else. And I would love, as much as I like the Canon M50, I already have a bag full of professional Nikon glass. I would love to just step into a Nikon mirrorless camera, because I see the advantage of mirrorless, and just use all my old lenses, and it would be a very seamless transition for me, but I can't do it right now. And to get the D850 would be fine, but you know, it's not the latest technology. I kind of would like to be at the cutting edge and, you know, have something that's new and different. I like that. I'm not sure what I would do at this point. And I know Eric is in the same boat. He has the 5D Mark IV. He just bought it a couple of years ago, and he's happy with that camera. But when he comes up against it in a year or two, when he's thinking about changing bodies, unless Canon does the exact same thing as Nikon and steps up, you know, what do you do? Do you sell everything and go into a Sony system? I'd rather not. I already have all this glass already, and I'm comfortable with Nikon. I'm comfortable with the images. I'm comfortable with the menus, and same thing with the Canon. I've been using this M50 now. I like the way it's set up. I could use a Canon full frame mirrorless camera. I feel comfortable with it now. Remember, leave comments, let us know what you think. We really enjoy interacting with you, and I actually learned a lot from the comments on the M50 video where, you know, I really didn't know how to use some of the settings in the Canon, and I got messages about how to use the Canon Connect app, and very helpful, so I appreciate that. So same thing with this. Let us know what you think. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there is a workaround, or, you know, I'm not comfortable with a Wi-Fi connection either, where I'm dropping JPEGs into my phone. It's a clunky situation. I don't want to have to think like that. I don't have to worry about connections. I want 2 memory card slots. I want redundancy. I want to not worry. So if there's something I'm missing, let me know. You know, give the video a thumbs up. It helps us out. It helps us to get to be seen by more people. Subscribe to the channel and click that little notification bell if you want to see more videos like this. And I will see you in the next one.